Blinded by Crumbs is the title of today's Throwback Thursday edition of Morning Minutes in the Bible. We're working our way through the Lord's promise to David, found in 2 Samuel 7 and 1 Chronicles 17. And the depth and breadth of this magnificent proclamation demands we slow down and chew on it a bit to get a better understanding. We especially need to understand the spiritual and eternal nature of the promise, including the part about a place of rest found in verses 10 and 11, so we don't get stuck in under the sun thinking. Blinded by Crumbs by Robert F. Turner, from Plain Talk Magazine, February 1973. If you were to take the sum total of all authoritative articles ever written by the most qualified of psychologists and psychiatrists on the subject of mental hygiene, if you were to combine them and refine them and cleave out the excess verbiage, if you were to take the whole of the meat and none of the parsley, and if you were to have these unadulterated bits of pure scientific knowledge concisely expressed by the most capable of living poets, you would have an awkward and incomplete summation of the Sermon on the Mount, and it would suffer immeasurably through comparison. For nearly 2,000 years, the Christian world has been holding in its hands the complete answer to its restless and fruitless yearnings. Here rests the blueprint for successful human life with optimum mental health and contentment, from A Few Buttons Missing by James C. Fisher, written in 1951. Now, brethren, what do you think of that? Before you become ecstatic because of the great honor given to the Master's sermon, 1. Are your restless yearnings no deeper than successful human life with optimum mental health and contentment? And 2. Is this the goal of Jesus' sermon? Often Christians are so hungry for a crumb of praise from the table of the world that they fail to see that many such crumbs humanize and diffuse the spiritual and eternal purpose of the gospel of Christ. Many so-called good works develop worldly admiration for our civic mindedness or social awareness and have nothing to do with causing people to truly glorify God. Matthew 5:16. God is glorified in the church by Christ Jesus, Ephesians 3 verse 21, and our light and saltiness must have to do with bringing people to Christ, Matthew 5 verse 11. I appreciate Dr. Fisher's estimate of the Sermon on the Mount as a major contribution to a good life here and now, but would like to point out that this is but a byproduct of its true purpose. Genuine Christianity is historically accurate, psychologically sound, economically wise, but primarily it lights the way to heaven. Robert's right, you know. It's one thing for first century Jews to be stuck in under the sun thinking, to be blinded by this world's crumbs, because the promises were so deeply embedded in their nationalist worldview. It's easier to understand why they would think the promised place of rest in 2 Samuel 7 verses 10 and 11 was going to be on earth, and stumble over the Lord's teaching that true rest was only in Him. But there's no excuse for us in 21st century America, or anywhere else in the world for that matter. Jesus made it clear that our place of rest is in Him and in Him alone. But we keep looking under the sun, and in the process are blinded by the crumbs. Let's open our eyes and look above, beyond the sun, to heaven, where our rest is found in the Son, Jesus Himself. Thanks for watching Morning Minutes in the Bible on Throwback Thursday. Because of Under the Sun matters called visiting grandkids, I will be taking a few days off. If God wills, I will return shortly with new Morning Minutes in the Bible as we continue exploring this magnificent promise in 2 Samuel 7. Until then, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.